I love podding, so let's pod.
Yeah.
Can I cuss
down
on
to
here?
pod. Yo, you can say whatever you want.
All right.
Yeah,
let's
there's no
fucking
rules.
pod. Let's
Yeah.
do it. I was one of those people like, yo, I should start a podcast. Let's start a podcast, right? I didn't really say that all the time, but like I just thought that, and I'll always be on my Snapchat story, right? And like just telling stories and shit, right? And people be looking at my story like hitting me like, yo, I'm cracking up. Like, yo, this is hilarious. Like people were like, I look forward to your story, right? They're like, you should start a podcast. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast. And that's how it started, just me in my living room. I remember it was snowing and like I went out and I bought a second mic because I already had a mic and like, an interface and all that because, I make music, So I bought a second mic. And I was like, I'm about to record my first podcast. And it was damn near a snow day. Like, I wasn't even working that day. I shouldn't even been driving. But, like, I just had, like, that, like, itch. I'm like, I need to start this shit today.
And you gotta do it
know what
now.
I mean? And, like, that's how it happened.
That's the difference. That's I think, again, Nubian. We were talking with Nubian about, like.
Shout out to her.
Yeah.
Dude,
I watched that episode.
She's the fucking best.
She was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
She's great. When she was talking about like listening to your instincts,
mm-hmm.
and if you do that, it makes a lot of difference. Like, because you could have said, "It's snowing, maybe I'll do it tomorrow," but you didn't say that. Somebody else did, buddy. And who the fuck knows where they are? They're not here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've got one extra Instagram page on their account, and they've never posted shit on
One
it.
Instagram page, like 5 followers, is like they friends or whatever.
Oh my god, with like one post from like 2018 coming soon.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that shit drives me so crazy. This is a compliment, and I think you'll take it that way.
Okay, what you about to say?
One thing that I think you're really, really good at, that I think even like we could get better at, but a lot of people that do podcasts in particular, and that kind of runs into my point, is you do a really good job of facilitating your guests and like getting them to start going. You're really good at that. I listened to the one where you had those two guys on from the Dope Collective.
Right.
That was a great fucking podcast.
I appreciate it.
And you did not say a lot during it.
That's how I know it's a great podcast. When I can let people talk. You know what I mean? Because you got to make people comfortable, right? That's the main thing. People come in like, yo, you got the water, you got the beer, you're like anything you need, right? I'm feeling comfortable. You get people comfortable, and then they just want to talk to you, you know? Because I'm showcasing them. Anybody that I have on the podcast, I'm showcasing them. So I want people to know more about them. That's what I tell them. I say, this is a way for people to know you for you, not just through the music or not just through, your business, or but like know you for who you are. So that's what I try to get at people,
Yeah, that's the only mentality I think like to have going into podcasts.
Yeah, I should have written that down.
Well, because that's why podcasts have gotten so big and everything, because it's long form and there's a real kind of authenticity that goes with most podcasts. I don't know if I want to start like going in on this,
but the authenticity, that's a big thing because some people come on podcasts and like they be out of character. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I'm on camera, I'm on mic, I need to do something to go viral. I need to do something so people look at me a certain way. But like I see through that. People see through that. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing. Being authentic, and being yourself. Like, but when you have rappers and stuff, like rappers, like they be trying to act like rappers. You know what I mean? Like politicians try to act like a politician instead of just being yourself.
Yeah, you have to like with them specifically. We've been very lucky, but there are times where you do kind of have to work at the shell a little bit, and once you do kind of get them to realize like that's what people want to see, then they'll be totally for it.
100%. But about the two shows, like how you said I had like kind of the setup,
because hell of a point. That seems like, what's the word, cathartic?
I don't know.
It's like it seems like real like like you really get to just like let it all out on that show.
Yeah, so that was the concept. When I started Ain't Trying to Hear That, like I was like, all right, I need to have guests on, because then I'll get my name out there and like people are looking forward to like, oh, who's he gonna have on next, right? And then when I had the season 2, took a break and like upgraded on my all of my production stuff and like really started going in. I was like, I don't want to be solely relying on interviews. You know what I mean? Because if you're relying on interviews, then like people are tuning in. This is not a bad thing, but people are tuning in for the guests instead of tuning in for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wanted to have something where people can get to know me just on my personal level. That's why I started Hell of a Point. Shout out to my co-host Aviana. You know, she's a great co-host. I was doing like tryouts. You know what I mean? Like I would be like, I need a co-host, female co-host. You know, and people were coming through, and I'm like recording. I was just like, we gonna be podding, and I was doing tryouts, like kind of like interviews, and like she was the best one. So, you know, it's been going great.
That's a great way to do it because it really, especially, you know, because Andrew and I have episodes where we don't have guests on.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as, I mean, I think our guest episodes, again, to your point, listeners really look forward to. But sometimes some of the most fun that Andrew and I have, I think, is when we're just sitting in here, like, it's been a long week. We know we have to record on Wednesday night, right? Mm-hmm. And we're just like, okay, we got to do it. And we're just sitting here and we just start laughing at each other. And that's saying a lot because we hate each other. Like off camera, you guys wouldn't believe the shit that we say to each other. It's horrible. Most people couldn't work in a setting like this.
That's brotherly love.
Yeah, we've made it work.
I study podcasts. Like I listen to podcasts all day, and like I listen for the content, but I'm listening to like get better at podcasts.
Yeah. What podcasts do you listen to most often? Like, what are your regulars?
Joe Budden podcast. Love the Joe Budden podcast. Joe Rogan, obviously. Like, he's the top, right? Like,
yeah.
So you got to study Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Bad Friends with Bobby Lee and
Santino.
Santino, you like that one? Yeah. Van Lathan has a podcast on Spotify that I listen to. He's from TMZ. You know, he used to be working TMZ. You know, who else? DJ Academics. Like, he's big on Spotify now. You know, he's got his deal. You know, so like people like that. I like to listen to people who are. I like the thing about Academics podcast. You know, it just started up. Is that like he interviews people who do the same thing that we do, kind of. You know, we gonna sit down in a couple years. And we gonna be big. We both gonna have our own studios and shit. Y'all gonna have a whole bunch of shows. Y'all gonna be doing y'all thing. I'm gonna do my thing. And we're gonna have like a podcast retreat or something.
Oh,
do like a brunch or something.
And we're gonna show this clip.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so crazy when we watch this clip.
Speaking into existence.